everybody. Here at Cloud Imperium Games, we're going to take an inside look at with artist Chris Smith on the 300i. I know a lot of you out there have been wondering what's going on with the ship, and so we thought we'd take a look. So, what do we got here, man?
Well, this is the concept drawing for the 300i, made by Massive Black by Kemp
Rimillard?
Kemp Rimillard.
Rimillard, yeah.
And, well, yeah, this is how it starts, pretty much.
So, take us to the thing, right? You start with the approved image of a concept, and then you go from there. How do you take what's on paper that's been approved that Chris has looked at and said, yeah, man, this is the way we want it to look, and then how do you get from that to the finished product? Take us through the steps.
All right. So, yeah, it gets approved by Chris Roberts through the concept stations. It's either a 2D concept or a 3D concept. In this case, it was a 3D model already. And then, so basically, I'll start out with a simple block out.
So this is we're going to the original. This is the original model you get from.
So this
Massive
is the
Black.
actual concept model I got.
Okay.
And you can see there's a lot of problems with it. It was mainly, it wasn't modeled like this. It was just messed up from the exporter.
Right.
But basically, yeah.
It seems very. It seems. I mean, polygonally, it seems like it's got just a few, and we're going for a real high depth look.
Yeah, it's very low res. Very simple and block out type. And so what I do is I basically go in and retopologize it and rebuild it with a cleaner mesh.
Topologize.
Yes.
I topologize.
I'm a topologist.
Yeah, you're a topologist. So you're going in there, cleaning it all up, making it look rounder, sleeker.
Well, first I actually make the mesh so it's smooth and it makes sense. You have to build things a certain way to make it work correctly and to make it clean, just basically clean.
Where do you go after this?
So after this part is the block out, and then it goes from that to basically I'll just start refining and cutting in more, and then you kind of end up with something like this where you can see there's a lot more polys and a lot more definition.
Right, so you've really ramped up the amount of triangles or polygons in there too.
Now this also is already a textured version.
Oh, yeah.
Show you just the grayscale, the difference. But yeah, you can see the edges are like smoother and things look more rounded out, like they have a certain highlight to them.
And do you have to worry about scale at all for pilots and stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we have, fortunately, our animator Brian, he made us a little proxy model of a pilot that he reaches at all the screens and stuff, and so I can use him as a template for my interior place. And so, yeah, just what I have here is the interior model for the 300i.
Oh, look at that.
And it was, that model was used to make sure all the dimensions are right and it fit the character, fit the player correctly.
Right, so now, you've been working on this a while. This is not a quick process. This is not something you get a concept from and then a week later you've got a finished product, correct?
Yeah, it's definitely not a week-long deal.
Yeah.
There were a couple of growing pains with this, so we're figuring out workflow and stuff like that. And it's definitely, we're modeling these game assets in a different way than traditional game assets are modeled, where you use like a low amount of polys and you kind of bake in normal maps. You bake in maps for all the details. In our case, since we want a lot of resolution out of the textures, when you walk up to it, we're using tile textures. So the modeling process is a little bit different.
Yeah, and everything has to work on this thing, like the wheel wells, the doors, the ladder needs a place to. Once it goes in there, it's actually part of the model, right?
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah, I model everything out, so I do little test animations to make sure things fit and whatnot. And here's like a little demo of like the landing gear coming out.
Wow.
With the ladders and stuff.
Cool. And we'll take a look at that with Brian here in a little bit too, so you can show exactly how that all happens. Because I mean, sometimes when you model stuff, if you don't have the collisions on right, it'll just pop through the floorboard or something. You need to find a place to fit all that.
Yeah, it was a little back and forth between Brian and me, for sure. Some things will always pop in and some issues will come up, but we'll get those worked out.
So this is a pretty sexy ship. So you're going to have some customizable parts. So can you show a little bit about some of the stuff and how you customize or how you plan for that?
So initially, when we modeled the 300i, the plans for the engine and stuff came a little bit later. Fortunately, though, the design of the ship was already sort of modular, and so I was able to take away the engine to replace it with different power plants. And here I'll give you like a little preview of one of the variations for the 300i.
Sure.
Right here is the alternative version for the 300i. This is going to be called the 315p. And basically what I've done here is replace this whole area. Basically, well, except for the air scoop in this case. But everything else, the whole engine will be replaced.
It's not really an air scoop. It's more of a hydrogen scoop.
Hydrogen, yes. Sorry, I'm so Earth-based.
That's okay. Maybe it's a dual
scoop.
hydrogen air scoop. It has dual roles.
Yes, particle scoop.
Particle scoop. Thank you.
And so yeah, basically, we wanted a bulkier, beefier version of the engine for this one base.
Right. So basically, you can take your 300i, you can upgrade it with better engines, missiles, guns. You can really customize what you want to do with it.
Yes. So the engine is part one. Like here is a small block out, which I already have a model for it, but this is the proxy. This will be something like a tractor beam that you can upgrade to.
Nice.
The block out. Usually a turret fits on there and it kind of comes down and it
slides forward or whatever. Very cool.
In this case, anything that you attach to the thing will
so you have a hard point.
action.
You have a hard point right there, and we design things that can be attached to that hard point, either be guns, radars, turrets, things, whatever you can do to your ship. That's one of the places you can attach
While
it.
we're here, I'll show you some in-game shots.
Oh, that's cool. Now this is actually in-game, right?
So yeah, this is exported into the CryEngine with its lighting and everything, and it's got lights added, so it looks in the materials, the shininess is added to it, so it definitely gives a little bit more zing. And again, yeah, hard points. So here's like a laser cannon that will be interchangeable. Here are missiles that will be. On some versions, they won't be there. On some versions,
yeah, it's up to the person, whatever they put on their ship.
And then later on, they can always add them.
Can we get into there?
Yeah, we can take a look. So you kind of walk in.
It's got a little leather on the sides there.
It's a little bit plush, yes. We kind of wanting to mimic the nice like Mercedes-ish BMW-ish
Beautiful
look.
looking. Look at that.
With some leather, yeah. It's got the little cigar lounge feel
Your
to
cigar
it.
lounge in the 300i.
And then you walk up to it. Yeah, that's basically how you walk up to your cockpit. It's through the ladder.
Right.
And then through the little hallway and to your seat.
Very nice.
And here's your command center.
Command console?
Yes. See,
Wow.
Looks a lot better in here than it does in Max.
Yeah, it does. Actually, the CryEngine, and this, folks, is why we've chosen the CryEngine. You can see the detail there and how pretty it is.
And this already has like a little bit of a lighting pass on the inside with some mood lighting, and how the ship would look in the game.
All right, man.
Once you're going around flying with it.
Well, there, folks. There's the 300i. Thank you, Chris, for showing us a sneak
welcome.
peek or a peek at what people are going to be getting pretty soon. And now we're going to head over to Brian Brewer and take a look at the how animations work on the thing. As promised, now we're over here with Brian. We're going to take a look at some of the things we have to do on the 300i to give you those realistic animations to make it look real and really come alive. So, hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good.
Good. So this is the 300i. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts on it, right?
That's right. We're trying to make all of our ships articulate and move and feel a little more alive, as opposed to like the static vehicles you get in the average game.
Right, exactly. So let's get an example of what. Show me something here that you're going to articulate, or things you're going to move around. Like what kind of things?
For example, we're doing the landing gear. So I take the landing gear, I rig it up.
Now, rig it up. What does that mean, rig it up?
Okay, so what I do is in the case of the landing gear, it's a skinned mesh. So I create a skeleton. I take that skeleton, I put constraints on that skeleton, and then I animate the skeleton. And that allows all the pistons, the hydraulics, everything that's articulates to move properly.
Show them moving. You can see, and look at that. You can see actually the pistons coming down. Like, boom, it goes a little further down. So all that stuff, it's a skeleton. And that's the same process you use for character animation, correct?
That's correct. And because this is a vehicle, we have two different types of animation that we use. We have skeletal animation on a skinned object, such as the landing gear. Then we have animated geometry, such as the doors, on this for the landing gear. So the landing gear doors are actually animated geometry that I went in, I broke apart, I created pivots, and animated all these parts individually in order to work proper in the CryEngine.
Well, this is the kind of level of detail they can expect out of all of our ships.
Yeah, I want a high level of accuracy in animation. I'll give you another example on this door. So on this door, we have like this handle here. And if I scrub over to that animation, you can see that the handle actually starts to spin.
Right, I see that right there. Yeah, that's really cool.
And then the door lifts up and out of the way. Let me back up.
Now let's back up and get a good look at that door.
So here's the
And this
door.
is one of the things Chris wants in all of his games, right? Is this level of realism. Look at that.
So this is a little more complex. It is several pieces that have been broken apart, fixed, parented, put together, and animated. When you actually do get inside your ship,
Right. Which will be in the hangar.
which will be in the hangar, and you push the open door button, and you get to see the move up and articulate.
Just like real life. So you're on your own Lamborghini / gull wing doors on the 300i.
Yeah. So and that's just a small piece. I mean, there's lots of things like we have a hatch here on the top that articulates. It'll open up an airlock. So if you want to couple with a larger ship,
Right.
and get inside of it out in space, you should be able to dock. It should be able to open up, drop a ladder down, and you'd be able to climb out and get inside that other ship. We have, when you go planet side, we have flaps. It's a very small animation. It's just a slider that's created and will get played programmatically in code depending on what the player inputs. So he pushes up on the keyboard or it pulls back on his flight stick or whatever it happens to be, and it will cause these flaps to go up and down.
And there's all kinds of things that get animated as well, like guns, any reticulating parts on missiles, any of those kind of things. The fins maybe extending out. Now, do you have any engine movement back there?
Yeah, we do. So let me turn on my little helpers here so I can see what I'm doing.
Right.
And so this is.
Now, what are those green things? They help you, whichever animations they help you control.
So they do several different things. The ones that I have selected here are controls, so I can actually control the
Just
different parts
set
of my
objects?
engine.
Right, okay,
So
fair enough.
I'll put my keys on this, and then I'll bake it
And
down.
you have this on faces, body parts. The helpers are all over in anything you're animating, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So what I do is I set up a bunch of controllers on this engine, so we can open it up, we can close it, go into our afterburner, and then I add a little bit more flair to it, so these open up, so you can kind of get this nice little animation of
Wow,
it.
that is really cool.
So if you can imagine it being like on the runway and the camera's behind the ship, and you see the afterburners kick on right before it's getting ready to take off, and it does this little pulsation, it pulses and fluctuates, and then tightens up, and you take
Away
off.
you go.
And then when you hit the brakes, it just kind of opens up and
Right on.
helps you slow down.
Very, very cool. So now let's get inside. There's some animations in the cockpit, right?
All right, so one of the things we want an interactive cockpit, right? We want mechanics to articulate and panels to come up that you can interact with and whatnot. So we have our chair here, which spins around, so you can actually comfortably.
Right, you got to be able to get into the chair.
Have
You
to
can't
really
just
get-
climb over the back.
Yeah, it's a little
Again,
tight.
details, folks. It's all about the details.
So the chair spins around, you hop in, you'll be able to put your seatbelt on, if it's a seatbelt system. And after you sit down, all the controls come to life and fold out, and panels come up and allow you to interact with it. And the way we set these animations up for this is we have kind of two animations. We have a deploy and a retract kind of an animation. So, you sit down and all the panels come out like so, and then we say freeze on that frame in engine.
So that's kind of like the
Yeah.
wait state or the.
Yeah, so now it's in an interactive state for your character, and they can punch buttons and whatever it happens to be. And then when you decide, all right, I'm going to get up out of my seat, it will play the retract, and it will pull all the controls back and let you out of your seat.
Very, very cool. Well, cool. Well, thanks, everybody. This has been Brian having a look at the animations on 300i. And you've got a lot of ships to do.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of ships.
And a lot of animations.
So I think it's a full-time job doing this.
Yeah, so you'll see more of Brian, too, when we do a little more in-depth look at the mocap studio, which we got because they helped us get it. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be great. In fact, I can't wait until we get our character animating, and then I'm animating a character to this as opposed to just arbitrarily animating things, just to get it to working right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys. And that's a look at the 300i.